So kind of where we had left off looking at our notes here is we had thought about to like a shared
What's up, everybody? Sorry about that delay today. Was busy doing some tickets this morning and they ran a little bit late, so they pushed into my lunch hour, so I try to get back here as soon as possible. I scarfed down that meal, had some leftover turkey burgers from last night, just inhaled that and then drove back here as fast as I could, but got a little bit of a stomachache now actually from doing that. So if you guys are only now tuning in, today we will be discussing PowerShell, 7 tips and tricks or 7 useful commandlets to improve, efficiency in the workplace, or maybe just to fiddle around with and have some fun. That could hopefully potentially lead to some more scripting and stuff like that to help simplify a lot of tasks that you may be doing in your workplace or even on your home computer. So let's get started with that. Sorry about the blank screen here. Let me go and open up what I'm supposed to open up for that. I literally just ran in through the door and clicked live scene, so I do apologize for not having that prepared for you guys. Just give me 1 second. One hand typing right now. Excuse me. Just got to remote into my machine over there so I can grab some of the stuff I had for us to talk about today with PowerShell. Hope everybody is having a good hump day. We're almost there, guys. Don't worry. Just got to sign in here. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. I had to fix that a little bit. Okay, so pull this stuff up over here. That open. Get this open. Okay, guys. So yesterday we talked about we built a virtual machine or a virtual environment, so that we can go ahead and set that up so that we can use that for testing today when we're doing our PowerShell. Because the reason behind that is PowerShell is very powerful, and we don't want to do anything, and we don't want to be playing around in something that we could potentially affect any system files, or affect the overall performance, or just the computer being able to work in general by doing that playing around. So having a virtual environment that is completely separated from the physical environment, being your computer, it just adds that extra layer of security, knowing that whatever changes you make won't actually affect your computer. They may affect the virtual machine, but they won't affect anything outside of that virtual machine. So let's go ahead, and if you guys weren't here yesterday, it's pretty simple. If you do have Windows 10 Pro Edition or Windows 10 Enterprise, you will be able to start creating a virtual machine with little to no effort whatsoever. You actually, it's a quick command. I can go over there really quickly just to run through that really fast. So to create the virtual machine, you just had to pretty much go on your machine. Then all Windows computers have PowerShell. So you're just going to type in PowerShell, and you should see Windows PowerShell come up here. You're going to right click it, and you're going to want to run it as administrator, because you're doing stuff that affects the system files and everything like that, and you need to get access to all those system files. So you have to be at the administrative level. Once you do that, this PowerShell will open up. You'll be able to grab this. All you have to really type in is Microsoft, how to install a Hyper-V, and this will come up. This will be the first link. You're just going to want to go from docs.microsoft.com. Being that it is from Microsoft, and us can't really get much more reliable if you're using Microsoft PowerShell than if you're using a how-to from Microsoft themselves. So you just have to grab this command here and open up your PowerShell. Now you can't right click and paste, but beauty of PowerShell is a right click is the same as pasting. So just right click right where you want it to go, and then you press enter. Now yours would be different. It will be running, and it will take a longer time to run. Since mine is already enabled, it won't have to do all that extra work. It's just going to tell me that no restart is needed because I did this already. After you would do it for the first time, you are going to need to restart your system. So if you guys want to go ahead and do that really quickly, that will work as well. So once you've done that, pretty much you're all set to, you've enabled it. It started to work. You can do a couple of other stuff here you may want to run as well. This is image to deploy CMD, enable Hyper-V with your command prompt or your DISM. But I'm not really getting into all that kind of stuff. You're going to need to go into your Windows features, though. The last thing you'll do before you can actually go ahead and boot up your virtual machine or create your virtual machine, you're going to want to type in Windows features in your search. Once that comes up, it's going to look exactly like this. And you're going to want to scroll down until you see Hyper-V, and you just want to make sure that Hyper-V is ticked on, and that as a result it will tick all these as well. Once you do that, you can press OK, and it's pretty much smooth sailing from here. Just going to type in Hyper-V, and this is the manager that will be used to manage all of your virtual machines. But since you'll be starting now, you wouldn't have any virtual machines, so you're just going to select Hyper-V Quick Create. This pop-up will come on. You're going to say yes. You'll then see this guy over here. Now there's both, it comes preloaded with your current operating system, that being Windows 10, as well as Ubuntu, which is for Linux. If you guys aren't too familiar with Linux, it's pretty much like having an operating system that doesn't rely on a whole lot of graphics. It relies more on your knowledge with accessing files using through command prompt, which can become very beneficial, if you want to become a developer, you want to get some more experience learning how to use the core features of a computer without, you know, having all the simplistic graphical user interface where you can just click an icon and go here and there. This will force you into learning how to navigate through your files, how to navigate through system files, and just how to move around the computer. You'll be surprised at how much quicker you can access things using that when the graphical user interface is not a part of it. That being also, you know, if you do have a computer that's running pretty slowly and you do want to try a new operating system, something that you're used to, something very lightweight, like you may have come from Windows XP being super lightweight. Windows XP is a really lightweight operating system because it doesn't have that whole graphical stuff and all the really simplistic stuff. Ubuntu is kind of on that same level. So if you were to boot Ubuntu or to import that operating system onto your machine, not just in a virtual machine, you'll be surprised at how much quicker your computer will perform because it doesn't have a whole lot of, the operating system isn't really doing a whole lot of work on the your processor. So after you do that, you would pretty much just select Windows 10 Dev Environment and you're going to create the virtual machine, and it will go ahead and create that virtual machine. Once that's all done, you're just going to type in Hyper-V Manager. It's going to come back up here. Now, this will be your virtual machines. It's going to show you the names of the virtual machines that you currently have, if they're running or not. So this is currently running, so I'm going to shut this down. This guy is running, and we're going to be connecting to this because this is the platform that we'll be using to test out some cool stuff with PowerShell. So let's sign in here really quickly. I can't remember what the password is. Let's see if I get it right. And I did. Yesterday it took me like 10 tries to get it on because I couldn't remember what password I sent. But it only took me 2 today, so we're making some improvements. Yep. Unfortunately, this is still showing a small screen, which I'm not a fan of. I was able to get it maxed out yesterday, but we'll touch on that in a little bit. So now you're going to do the same thing you did earlier to turn it on. We're going to be playing around with PowerShell, so we're going to need to open up PowerShell in our virtual machine. So you're going to want to run it as administrator. In this case, you may not need to because you are the only admin on this virtual machine. But it's always better to be safe than sorry, so might as well run it as an admin. Takes nothing more than a right click and a left click. So now you can expand the windows for your Windows PowerShell, which I have done here just to make it a little bit easier for me to view it and stuff like that. I've also increased the font size, etc. Let me just try, and I'm trying to expand this bad boy here, but that is not possible. Okay, well, we'll be leaving that just like this. Alrighty, so now that we have PowerShell all up and running, let's start looking into some cool stuff. Grab a little drink of water. Now, let's take a look at what we have shown here. So the beauty of this being Microsoft's PowerShell is they really do have a plethora of support and documentation for PowerShell, you know, so that people can get accustomed to using it. They actually really have a cool little platform here where it has something called cookbooks, which is, which is stuff that they have, like, you know, built scripts and examples of scripts and what they will do. So this is pretty cool. If you wanted to force lock down a computer or any computers in the domain, you can force lock it down using this command here, as long as you are running it for each and every workstation. Yeah, which is this one here. Now, this parameter here, you'll possibly be able to fill it with the names of the other computers that are on the domain that you also want to lock down. We haven't looked at that. I haven't tested that, but we'll be able to see that today. We'll test that out. Of course, you know, you don't want to, you'll be locking in your virtual machine, which makes it really easy to keep, you know, testing these stuff out. We're not locking our own machine and having to sign back in. We're avoiding all that by having that virtual machine in the first place. So if that, you know, if you didn't really understand why we were having that virtual machine, that should help a little bit with that understanding. So there are other stuff that they have for shutting down or restarting a computer, you know, something simple as stop computer, something as restart computer, something as simple as restart force. So this is an instance where your computer is, you know, has a lot of applications open and it's giving trouble to restart. Well, guess what? You can just force that and it will close all of those applications and complete the restart. So these are some of the basic ones. So let's look into just, you know, getting comfortable with it. Before we actually apply those, let's look at how easy it is to get all these commands. Now these are some of the basic commands that come with, sorry, when I say commands I actually mean commandlets, since that's what my PowerShell refers to their commands as. You know, in command prompt, which is CMD, if you guys aren't familiar, would just be CMD, command prompt. This bad boy here uses something called commands. Well, command prompt uses something called commandlets. I know, haha. Interesting how they just decided just to add lets to it to make it, you know, unique. But whatever, we'll just keep using it because PowerShell is truly useful, and we're gonna show you guys why. So there's some stuff you can get commands, you know, to figure out what is going on. This is a get command, you know, you want get help. These are all different commands that you can and cannot use. Well, not that you cannot use, you can use. You can and cannot use, no. These are all the commands that you have access to already. Now there are certain things like, you know, if you're dealing with Active Directory and you want there are separate commands for stuff with Active Directory, you just are going to have to implement that module, which I've already done on my virtual machine, but if we get to that today, we'll be able to show some more with that. So let's see, let's try this command here. So let's first So let's go ahead and look at some of these commands here. So let's see, get command. Wow. So it's going to show all of these. We're just going to clear screen that. Oh, I didn't expect it to do that. So let's just do it. Guys, also to navigate between commands, a really easy thing to do is you can just use your up and arrow. So it remembers what commands you did. So if you wanted to, you know, test something twice and it didn't work the first time, you can just press the up arrow on your keyboard and it will show you whatever it was you typed in, which is going to get really useful because some of these commands can get very lengthy if you're not scripting them. And by when I say a script, I mean as in you can write a script in Notepad even, save it as a .ps file, which is a PowerShell file, and then you can run that script through PowerShell here and it will do that script and output whatever you need to output, write it wherever you need to write it. But yes, that makes it a little bit easier that if you have a lot of commands that you want to run simultaneously or at the same time. So let's actually let that run again and let's look at all these commands, guys. There are so many of them and they don't expect us to remember all of these. That is physically impossible. You're going to realize that the more you play around, you're just going to get comfortable with the ones that you're familiar with or that you want to use. You know, you want to figure out how can I check the last password reset on my computer. When was the last time I changed my password? Well, you're going to look for commands specifically for that. So let's look at some of these things here. We can actually clear this out. It's pretty, you know, they have add VPN, but let's not get all of these, get crazy with all this stuff. Let's actually go ahead and clear this out. Now, there's also a get help function. So if you want to get help, about a certain command, so that's how useful that is. Let me show you. You'll be able to do get help and then get command. No, let's see. Yeah, maybe get command. And actually, what we want to do is so this is what this is telling you is this is gonna, when you use the get help, it's gonna give you what the command that you're typing next does, as well as, you know, a description about it, and also in some cases they give you some examples. This one they didn't give you any examples because it is a pretty general command. It just, you know, shows you all the commands that you have access to, or commandlet, sorry. But one of the cool things we can do with get help is, you know, you want to be working, you want to have something that's a separate window, you don't like navigating through this blue window, so you can just do get help, get command, and then do dash show window, or is it showing window? I may be wrong here, guys. Yep, it is show window. So what that will do is it will do the same thing that it just did and print out the same instructions. However, it will print it out in an external window here. So I have it in this window right here. So I can still do other stuff while having this. So I can reference it, you know, look at what it does, look at the commands, look at, you know, how it can be used, all this kind of information, which is really cool when you think about it, that it's giving you examples. Like even here, look, let's look at some of these examples that they're going to give us. So start from example 1. Where is it? So you can get commandlets, get function with get command. Now there's another example here for get commands in the current session. So get command list importer. This command uses a list importer parameter to get only the commands in the current session. Get commandlets and display them in order. So you can do get commandlet, command type commandlet, and then this is a pipe. So it's going to pipe and look for a sort object and by noun. So it's going to sort this in alphabetical order. And it's also going to output them in a table, which is pretty cool. Another example of how get command can be used is get commands in a module. So you wanted to figure out what kind of commands are inside of PowerShell themselves. Well, they have that option here as well. Get information about a commandlet. You could do all that kind of stuff. Let me see if you get dynamic parameters. This is going to get a little too intense, and I don't want it to get too far-fetched for you guys. You know, I'm not an expert at PowerShell either, but I really want to learn. And the process of learning it is really just testing stuff out and playing with it. That's why we're advocates for using this virtual machine. So let's look at this now. Let's figure out what are some other stuff that we can do. So let's try what we were just looking at. Some of these commands here. Let's see if this is going to lock our, if this will lock our, guess that doesn't allow copy. Copy that. It's interesting, I guess because it's in the server, it's not allowing me to copy it. So let's run that. So run 1132.exe user 32 DLL comma lock workstation. And I'm not sure if this is gonna work. Let's see. So no, it can't determine. So the only way to lock appears by value is so that didn't work here. Let's see why. Alright, well, I'm not even going to bother with that. So let's see here. Trying to get both of these on the screen. All right, so let's see here. See what other stuff they have. One of the cool things we can do too is that there's a bunch of ways to get access to scripts. So let's look. PowerShell, how to get last reboot time. So this is also by Microsoft, guys, if you want to double check that. Yeah, issued by Microsoft. Perfect. Okay, so let's try this. So get CIM instance. So in this case, once again, only downside to this, I'm going to have to maybe open up contemplating opening this same thing in here. That way I'll be able to copy and paste directly in there. Oh, but of course not. If only that was the case. Get PowerShell. I'm going to go click the same thing. And let's copy it. Okay. So, it pretty much told me that my last boot time was this morning, which is interesting. Oh no, this is going to be in Central Time. So, that makes a lot of sense. Add 5 hours to that. That would be 2:27. Nope, that doesn't make sense. This was booted up at... that's interesting. Alrighty, well, we'll leave that to be. But yes, so that's pretty cool. We checked the last boot time. Let's look up some other stuff here that we can do. Got me feeling like I really don't know too much, but you know, don't worry guys, this is what the whole process is. I'm learning with you guys. I need to learn more about PowerShell. I like it, but I'm not an expert at all, but I really do enjoy it. So I enjoy what it can do. I just need to learn how to get it to do everything I need to do without having to search for everything. But that's the whole point of having access to the internet, right? I'll be right back, guys. I gotta use the washroom really quickly. I'm sorry, I wanted to keep looking. Just be right back. Rushing and eating that food really did its work on me. It has me with a lot of air or something. Stomach is hurting me a lot. But the things I do to get to stream, right? It's dedication. Plus, also realizing that I don't know too much about PowerShell while trying to show you guys some stuff about PowerShell. So, oh wait, I just realized that I had opened this and I forgot to edit my, sorry about that, forgot to edit okay, so excuse me, I think I just alrighty, made that change, so that change is made. But let's look into some more stuff here. Okay. Alrighty, so let's think about getting processes. So these are all the different processes that are currently going on your computer. So let's see how we can use this. We could stop processes too, which can be kind of dangerous. But let's check the last time a password was changed. So let's look at this. So this is where Active Directory comes into play. Let's start doing stuff with that. So get AD user. So command line edit pipe position ones, pipe values. So let's see. PowerShell. Let's actually edit that. So CLS that, and let's do. Oh yeah, guys, I forgot to tell you about the tab function. If you wanted to see all the different stuff that, you know, have different commands, just press tab, and it will finish it for you. Just so if you're wondering how mine's just skipping about, pretty much because I am using that to do so. No, that's not what we want. I actually just want DC. Equals local. So that's not gonna work. Okay, so let's try and get all the users first before we start getting into that, because we need the user in order to get the AD user. So let's get WMI object class win32. It's not what I wanted. User. How do don't know why that's happening. Okay. So this is pretty much, I don't know why this is still saying my computer name is this. Oh! You see, guys, I'm here kind of confused as to why it was giving me this random name when we first checked to see when the last time this guy was booted up, without realizing that the reason that this was booted up is because I was checking the last boot time for the virtual environment and not our actual computer. So look at that. I get tricked up by the own virtual environment that I'm using. So this is going to show us all the users that we have on this, and we pretty much just have an administrator, default account, a guest, a Logan, and then some sort of utility account. So that's pretty cool. So we have that. So we got the users on there. So that's cool. So now let's look at get AD user. That's not running. So get AD user desktop. Oh, I was right. Desktop. Let's see if this works. See, that's not gonna work. All right, let's look at get AD user, and then let's use that. Remember, guys, the get help function. All right, CLS. So we're gonna remember, guys, the get help function. So we want to know how to use AD user. So then we're gonna do show window. So it's gonna open up this window here, and we're gonna see how we use it. So let's see an example. Let's look at an example. Examples are always easier. If they don't have an example, boo hoo. They don't have an example, so let's boo hoo. So it's looking for the, what is the filter looking for? Oh, well, all right, well, that didn't help us at all. So maybe we just stick off of that. All right, so let's start playing around. So let's say you've been in a position where your computer is giving you trouble, and for some reason you know how you can do Control-Alt-Delete and open up your task manager to end a process to stop it from working. So similar to we can just type in task manager and that will come up, and we wanted to end this process here. However, your task manager just wasn't coming up because your computer is running very slowly, but you were able to get PowerShell up. So you have PowerShell running. So let's see how we would get rid of that. So let's get process. All right. Let's get process, and let's look for what is going on right now. Okay. So this is the application that we're running right now. So let's get the process. Get process browser. So this is that. So we get that is the browser. So how do we kill this process? So we're gonna stop this process. So this process has the ID 348, right? So in order to stop that process, you guys remember Edge is open still. So we're gonna watch Edge close down. Let's actually open. Let's see if we open another window, see what happens. So let's try that one more time, because we don't want to close down that one. So let's see, get process browser broker. So we're gonna see that there's still only one instance of it. Let's see what happens when we kill it. It'll probably kill both processes, but we'll see. I don't think we'll be able to just end one. So stop process ID 348. So we ended that process, but these bad boys are still open, so that clearly didn't do that. Let's start back that process. We don't want to break anything. Still didn't work. Well, that is not cool. Okay, so we can actually, we don't need to use the ID, we can actually just use the name. I didn't even realize that. So let's try that. So let's do stop process. And let's do, instead of the ID, let's use the name. So we're gonna dash name. This would be, what would be the name of this? Microsoft Edge. Let's see if that works. I doubt this will work because I doubt that's the actual name. Nope, that wasn't gonna work. So let's open Notepad. Since Notepad is just one word and we know the name of Notepad is Notepad. So let's try that with Notepad. And it worked. So it killed that process. Notepad was there and it's no longer there. Now I want to figure out the names of all the processes. So let's get the process. So we have PowerShell, we have OneDrive. What is Microsoft? Is this it? But why is it not showing me? I would like to see the whole name. Okay, so what we could probably do is then type in get process and then filter, I think it is. I only want to see the process name. How to use filters, let's see that. That's not what we want. Let's see, contains Microsoft. See, that's not gonna work. How about we do get process and then we do maybe select, what is this called? Process name. See, that's not gonna work. So get process. Okay, so this is just giving me the process names. So we had to pipe it. I forgot about the piping, guys. If you want to be able to run two commandlets, you have to pipe one to the other. So this is getting the process and then this is selecting. So this is another commandlet. I had it without that, so that's why it wasn't working. So this is browser Microsoft Edge CP. So it's just one word. So now we can try and end that process. So let's go ahead and clear this out because we have a lot of stuff. So we're going to get process, and remember we wanted to cancel, stop the process, and in order to do that we had just to remove this there, and it killed both processes. So we weren't able to remove both, but let's see if we were to open one and then open another, if we can just close one process. So let's see, get process, but let's get process, select process name. So we'll be able to see Microsoft Edge CP. CP is only one Microsoft Edge. I don't think we'll be able to close it separately. Interesting. That would have been useful, you know, maybe able to closing just one. That could be cool. So let's see what else we can do. Excuse me. Oh, my stomach is fried, guys. Let's try that was a lot of extra work. And let's look at identity. Then I'm not sure if it's gonna need the username, so let's put Logan here. Type properties. Let's try that without the username Logan. Nope, still not gonna work. How did we get users before? So so I guess we can't, because technically this isn't on an Active Directory, so that won't work. I didn't realize I didn't have my chatbot running. It's never cool. Oh, guys, sorry, I'm not feeling too hot today. Swallow that food way too quickly. Okay, so we found out how to get the users, right? Oh boy. Guys, I really wish I didn't rush that food, because now it has me feeling so sick that I can't even focus. I tried to rush here on time and it ended up backfiring in my face. Oh goodness. Ah boy. Oof. Oof, have felt better. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to take a little break from the stream real quick, guys. I will be right back, sorry, but this is out of my control.